Good afternoon to all of our guests here at the North American Bear Center. It's about 10 minutes past 12:30, which is when we normally start the enrichment broadcast program. I'm a little bit late today. Apologize for that. But we are trying to get the Bears down for enrichment at this time. We do have Lucky and Holly out in the main enclosure. They're not down in the viewing area yet, but we are broadcasting our program live for those of you tuning in on our cams at bear.org. And those of you here at the center, if you do want to see the Bears, you can come to the windows or the deck to the right of the windows, although, again, the Bears haven't showed up yet. We do have the staff out there trying to convince them to come down. It's really up to the Bears if they want to come down. We don't force the Bears to do anything they don't want to do here at the center, and that's because of a couple reasons. We'll have to be responsible of us to be forcing animals to do things they don't want to do. Also, the Bears are pretty big. We couldn't really force them physically if we wanted to. So for a multitude of reasons, we don't force them to do stuff they don't want to do. All of our bears here are rescues, which means through no fault of their own, their lives have been intervened with, and they can no longer be wild bears anymore. So we're set up to take care of them while teaching people more about them. There's a lot of misconceptions out there about the black bear or bears in general. One of those that we like to talk about is honey. A lot of people think bears love honey. We've actually done a taste test with wild bears to see how much they like honey. I'm going to spoil it for you. They don't really like honey. But we did a taste test with a muffin tin. We filled each row of the muffin tin up with a food item. We used two food items we know the bears like. Pecans, I believe, so a nut. And then we used blueberries or a different kind of berry for the middle tray. And then we filled honey in the last one. We tested 3 wild bears. The first bear came up. It ate the pecans, and then it ate the berries. It sniffed the honey, and it left. Didn't want anything to do with it. The second bear ate the berries first, then it started eating the pecans. While it was eating them, it dropped one into the honey. Now, bears are fairly dexterous. They can coordinate the use of a single claw task. And so the bear went about trying to get the pecan out of the honey. Now, honey is really sticky, and it had a really hard time dealing with it. After about a minute or two, it got really frustrated, smashed the muffin tin, threw it in the woods, and left. All right, so then we had to go get a new muffin tin to try the third bear. The third bear did eat all 3 items, but it ate the honey last. So out of 3 bears, only one of the wild black bears actually ate the honey, and it ate it last, which would just moreover prove that hungry enough, a black bear will eat just about anything. But when they go into a hive, that's not what they're concerned about is the honey. They are actually concerned about the baby or the larvae stage of bees, wasps, or hornets that they raid. So hornets, for example, they do not make any type of honey. They still make big, large nests that are usually gray in color and look like they're made out of paper mache, and they'll be found hanging from trees in this area. Specifically, they are bald-faced hornets in our area, and they're about twice of a honeybee, and they do not make any honey. We regularly see not only our captive bears here at the center go looking for those hives and raiding them when they do find them, but we also see the wild bears do this somewhat regularly. These bald-faced hornets, they're nasty. They can sting you repeatedly without dying, and they are much larger, and they usually live in huge colonies, and all of the colonies works as defense. So they get these huge colonies that will attack any intruder. And again, we've seen our bears go after them and watch them get stung or get attacked by those hornets, and they just chow down on that larvae or the eggs that are located within that nest. And we still don't have any bears down yet. Again, today's actually a nice day. If it's super hot, humid, and sunny, the bears don't typically like to be out in the viewing area. They do have black coats, so being in direct sunlight, they can get pretty hot. That's why we have the nice pond and waterfall feature that we do. That helps the bears cool off. So just like a dog, they cannot sweat like people can. They do most of their heat exchange through their foot pads. So using water to keep themselves cool is very important. The bears will go either play in the pond or just soak in the little stream to the left of the windows. And the hair that they have is designed to trap water in the spaces between each hair. So when they leave the water, it'll be held tightly against them and continue to cool them off over a longer period of time. Then what they'll often do is go into the woods. They'll find a spot where they can dig a little bit of the surface soil away because the soil underneath is much cooler, and they'll lay down. All right, that'll help cool them off as well. Now here at the Bear Center, we do have lots of other critters that can come and go into the enclosure. Basically, if you're a groundhog or smaller, you can freely move in and out of the fence because the spaces are big enough for you to fit through. Then if you're a bird, obviously you can fly in and out of the enclosure. In fact, on the viewing area, we do have a falcon that's going about eating a jay. So if you look at the main pond from the window area, you'll see a little rock bridge that leads across the stream on the left. Right at the base of that bridge, there is a merlin, it's a type of falcon, that is consuming and eating a blue jay. You may not be able to see it from the window area, but to the right of the windows inside the building, you'll see a staircase that will lead you outside. You can get up on the observation deck that way and see the enclosure from above, and you'll be able to see the merlin sitting on its prey, which is a blue jay, and it's currently just holding on to it, and it's been slowly eating it this morning. We actually saw Lucky Bear, our 15-year-old male, go approach the merlin and its prey, and we were very interested to see how they will react. Now, generally speaking, meat is not a preferred food item of bears. It's pretty low on the list. Make no mistake, a wild, hungry black bear will eat just about anything it can get its hands on. Our bears have the luxury of being picky here at the center because they're well fed. Now, we did see Lucky approach the falcon and its prey, and we were really curious to see how he was going to react, and he was actually scared of the falcon, which is kind of what we were expecting. But Lucky is close to 500 pounds, where this merlin, this little falcon, is maybe a few pounds. So it was kind of surprising this big and powerful animal be scared of such a little small animal that it could easily crush. Yes, for those of you out here on the deck, it is right here. Merlin's just hanging out, and it does have the blue jay. You can see its tail feathers sticking out the back side. So it caught it this morning. We actually had some guests watch it happen. So the blue jay was down and around eating some leftovers must have not wanted. The merlin came out of this, attacked it. That's exactly how those animals hunt. Now it does look like it might be taking a nap while it guards its prey. The blue jay's probably a little too big for the merlin to fly away with, and so it's going to hold it there and finish eating it until it's done, and then it'll most likely take off. Yes, a merlin is larger than a kestrel. Kestrel would be probably less than half the size of a merlin. They're really small. They're very similar, both falcons, but yeah, the kestrels are pretty tiny. They're actually the smallest bird of prey that we tend to see here in Minnesota. Well, it would appear that the bears don't want to come down today. They must have better things to do. We do have wild food that grows naturally in the enclosure. The black bears do prefer those wild food over the stuff that we feed because it's naturally occurring and it is wild. They tend to prefer that stuff. So that's another common misconception we hear. We hear that once the bear gets the Twinkies out of your trash can one time, that'll become its new favorite food for the rest of its life. But after research, we've actually and it's the exact opposite. They'll continue to prefer those natural food sources, even though sometimes they get some of the good stuff that we make and whatnot. But they will continue to prefer those natural food sources over those unnatural ones, mostly due to the fact that they are natural. But also, the bear's digestive system, just like the humans, doesn't really know how to handle processed sugars. So stuff that has that processed sugars in it doesn't really do a whole lot for the bear, believe it or not. The enrichment process, what is that? So we basically give the bears a puzzle to solve sort for a food. So collect and give what we call a cube, which is exactly how it sounds. It's a plastic cube. We drilled some holes in it. You fill some food items up in there. You throw it out. And they got to manipulate the object to get the food out. That causes stimulation. In the wild, that's common, but here in captivity, they're not always using their brains. So if we don't allow them to use their brains, they'll turn to mush and cause some issues. So we have to exercise them mentally as by giving them those challenges to solve. We'll vary it up a little bit, and we have various options. Stimulation, which keeps them healthy and fit. Alrighty, well, normally we do have a bear down here for the 12:30 program. Looks like, again, today they're not very much cooperating with us. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. For those of you here at the center, we are going to take a tour out in a couple of minutes here to go see the bears in their personal enclosures. If you'd like to join us for the tour, we'll meet in the viewing windows downstairs in the and we'll be heading out momentarily or very shortly in about 10-ish minutes. Those of you tuning in online, we do this program today online at 12:30 through our pond cam on our website. So we do have lots of folks tuning in. Thanks for showing up. Sorry we couldn't get the bears on for you, but I know you've been enjoying watching the Merlin eat the blue jay today. Because again, it's been an ongoing process since about 9 o'clock this morning. We do this program every day at 12:30. So if anyone here at the Bear Center isn't going to be in the Ely area and able to come visit us, you can always check us out online at bear.org and watch the Bears and this program from the comfort of your own home or wherever you have Wi-Fi. Thanks again, everybody, for coming out. My name was Spencer. Happy to be doing these broadcasts at 12:30. Tune in tomorrow for our next broadcast enrichment program, and we hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day.